Hey everyone, g'day. Who was first? Golly, Mike, g'day. And Chirpy, good to see you. And Craig, hello. Thanks for letting those couple of comments through. Appreciate that. Poppy, good to see you. Marsh, hello. You're up early. Mark Osborne, hello. I was going to watch Chirpy's video. It was a bit long to fit in tonight. I'm running a bit late tonight, really. Gosh, who else is here? Stephen, good morning. You didn't get a lot of sleep, but good to see you. Kevin, hello. Really good question, Kevin. Chirpy, is your tool and cutter grinder from plans, or you make it up as you go? David, good day. The DRO. Go back to sleep when it's over. Sorry, you'll probably go to sleep before then. I'm running late tonight. I didn't get in till about 10, quarter past 7. We had issues with a motor vehicle key. And as a consequence, I'm completely unprepared here. Bridgeport exploded. That's right. There's bits everywhere. And I've had problems with the telephone mount on my tripod and stuff like that. So I'm sort of here. The bench is a total disaster area. Stuff's been unpacked and uncleaned and taken apart here, and that's as far as I've got. So I apologise for that. Hi, Maddie. And John Creasy, hello. Hi, Peter. What do we got? We got a piston there, yeah. Where do we start? Who wants to know about what? I guess we should get the good news out of the way first. That's probably a good way to be. Can't wait to go and see Chirpy's video. The good news out of the way. DRO, Marsh says. DRO. So here we go. I bought this DRO. I bought some of a DRO. The rest still coming. It's a Chinese one. So far, it all seems to work. Right? I've sort of had it plugged in. I didn't mess with it very much. I haven't got anything set up. There's a bit of a job to it, and I had a fairly busy weekend. So I worked out what all the bits do. This arm on the back is a bit ordinary. So far, this is where I'm at with it. It's got 4 little screws in here, and there are no spring washers or anything supplied, so I don't reckon they're going to last long. They're going to need spring washers on them. There's a decent 10mm bolt here with a flats on it that pivot for adjustment, but there was only a 5mm bolt to go through this hole that's about 6.5mm, so that was pretty floppy and you couldn't tighten it up. So today I bought a 6mm bolt to go in the hole, and this has got a spring washer on it too. This one will too, so you can tension everything and everything fits nicely and runs together. I haven't quite blown up my mill to that extent, Mike. Rustinox, good day. This one's still loose. I don't know why. It's got a nylon washer in this side. There's a gap there. There's no real instructions for putting it together. I did find the right bolt because the bolt that come with it was only a 8mm instead of a 10mm. So it has got bolt and it hasn't got too much rattle or sag in it now. It just needs probably a fibre washer on one side there to stop it swinging around, I think. It come with 2 grub screws and 2 other screws. I guess these are probably, these are threaded, so I'm guessing probably you bolt it on with these 2 bolts and you put the 2 grub screws in to jack it out from a curved surface on a machine. That's the idea of it. But we're going to bolt this on a piece of wood on the bench, so on the back of the bench. So, I don't know what anyone wants to know. For jacking off an angled surface, that's exactly right. Thank you, Rustnox. It's awesome. I think it's almost 5,630, but I haven't looked for a couple of hours. You never grow out of that, just so you know. You'll never grow out of that. So it's just got an ordinary jug cord plugs in the back, an on-off switch. This one here is a PE port of some sort. I've got no idea what that does. And it's got 3 plugs for the X, Y, and Z axis. Or Z if you live in America and say Z, which I'm not sure why you would. But there you go. So this isn't a bad looking unit, really. It's pretty rugged plastic. It come with a... Oops. It come with a protective screen to go over it, just in case we're having a coolant problem. And to be honest, that's probably pretty good. That looks really good there. It also has what I have on good authority to be a tool holder or collet rack that goes on the bottom here. In case you think that's a good idea. I'm not at this point convinced that it is a good idea. Probably wants to go there somewhere. And it looks like it takes ER25 collets maybe, or Morse taper 3, something like that. Neither of which are much good to me. This might go on the wall somewhere, or on a... If I could buy these separately, I'd put 3 or 4 of them on a stand somewhere. That's probably quite a cool thing. Anyway, that's the DRO. I've plugged it in and it lights up. It's got a lot of features that I'm probably going to use and a lot of features I'm probably never going to use. Whole circles and things like that, which I probably will use. What else has it got? It's got an EDM function. I don't know what that does really. I'm sure everyone else does. Just a matter of learning to read it. The book was pretty good. The book's in English and reasonably easy to understand. So I've got to go through it when I get it plugged up, because I can't read the book and understand stuff. I've got to get stuff plugged in. Hi Scott, hope you're feeling better soon. Good to see you. So that's the DRO unit, and it looks like a pretty good thing really. I've just got to spend some time and get it hooked up. This is the one scale I got because I wasn't real sure how long they were or what was going to fit in the space or what lengths I could get away with, etc, etc, etc. So I bought one to try in the positions and see if we can make it work. These are glass scales, I believe. Someone will tell me I'm wrong. Still got the plastic piece in here. And it's got a plug. It's got nice flexible cable. I like that. This isn't hard or firm. It's quite flexible. And it comes with some mounting hardware, but I don't know how much or how much use it is. So this one's going to mount vertically, I imagine, on the side of the mill. And this comes with some sort of a bracket to hook this up here. I'm not really thinking that that's probably the answer at this point, this slotted bracket. It might be, but it needs a bit of shape in it, so we're going to work that out. It also comes with a dust guard. Now the dust guard's too wide here, and I lose too much space on my y-axis. This is only about this wide, and it's got this much overhang, so I'm going to try and think of something else to put in the back of the table so we don't lose this extra 3/4 of an inch, because it's kind of important. Pointing it away from the spindle is probably a really good idea. It's going to get, this will be the front, and then I think I'm going, oh, yeah, we'll slide this down where you can sort of see it. This is going to be the front, and this will mount on the table, and then it's going to have a piece around here to work on the table. So that should be fair enough, and they should keep all the dirt out of the back of it, or the dirt out of the front of it. So that's what I'm going to do with that. This is actually too long for the other scales, and look how huge it is. The other ones want to really be, one wants to be 50 mil shorter, and one of them probably wants to be 100 mil shorter, or a bit more, 150 mil shorter even. But I haven't even really had a look at this, to be honest. I was away all weekend and had some dramas and stuff. And this came on Tuesday morning. I was at my friend John's messing around with the Stewart 400, trying to get the cylinder board. So when I got back here at about 8 o'clock last night, it was time to go to bed, ready for work today. And today at work's been a bit crap in places, so I got home late tonight. I haven't really held this up on the side of the mill to see how it works, but I guess it will work. It's a little bit longer than I expected, but we're going to need to make some brackets for it anyway. So that's the DRO. Look, watch this space. I have a dedicated video on fitting it up when I do it, but it won't be too far away. I really need this particular scale anyway, if not the others. So oh, thanks, Mike. Really appreciate that. Don't be a slave to brackets, or don't be a prisoner to brackets. Gosh, that's strong language. Okay, we'll make something. It works all right for Bad Obsession Motorsport. That's all I'm saying. And Project Binky's, and there's a channel built on brackets. Now, cylinder. We got it set up, and some of you probably saw pictures of it on Instagram and Facebook. I haven't really posted anywhere else or done any. I've got some video, but I haven't really done a lot because I left my camera at my friend's place. So I have got some video. We set it up 3 or 4 times before we got something that actually the mill had enough distance to go right through it, because it's about 120 mil bore, and the bridge board only got about 125 stroke, or a clone, and it was pretty tight all round, and to stop it vibrating and everything is a bit of a chore. So it took us 3 or 4 hours, I guess, to set it up. And then it took the rest of the afternoon to get it out to about 31 millimeters. There's a bit of a hard spot in the back of the cylinder. I'm not sure whether it's entirely just a hard spot or whether it's just a boring bar flex as it goes through the end or what it is. But we've got a bit of a ridge, and we're going to make another boring bar. So that's another weekend. But hopefully this weekend we can see the back of that and start to get a parallel bore that looks pretty good. It still needs a bit more out of it. Take care, Mike. So that's the rundown on the cylinder. It's a bit at a time, but it was never going to be an easy job. But we got it done. Or we're getting it done. I think we're going to get it done. Worst case scenario, we get another casting. But if the truth were told, there wasn't enough. The distance is a bit of a problem between me and Clark, who's on the other side of the world. He's in Mississippi. And shipping heavy castings backwards and forwards is cost prohibitive and takes time. So this is I think it's the second casting he did. But it's still very much in a prototype stage. So this one, if it works, there are things that we would improve on the next one as far as pattern making and as far as pouring it. But hopefully we can make it go and make it work. Bit of a job. Chirpy, good question. There is some hard patches in the casting with chill around predictable parts. You can look at it and say this is where you think it's going to have chill, and that's where it does have chill. And the iron's not hard, but it's not soft either. So, and probably a lot of it's just a skin, and some of it's sand. So you go through with carbide and hit a piece of sand. And you need to hit a grain of sand, and it's time to sharpen the tool, and you run into all sorts of problems there. A sleeve is a good idea, and to be honest, if I'd thought of a way of sleeving it properly, I would have cast the thing in aluminium. That's where I'm at with that. I spent about 3 or 4 weeks looking at the drawings, wondering how I could organise to put a wet sleeve in it. I don't believe that it's possible. I don't think there's enough machining allowance in it to do it. And I don't think it would have been any easier. And even to do it now, it's not all that easier because it's the end of the cylinder that's hard. So even if you can bore it out to put a sleeve in it, the bit that you've got to bore out accurately to keep the water in, or to stop the sleeve moving around or whatever, is going to be the hard bit. So not sure that's an answer, but I did think about it pretty heavily before I did it. And to be honest, if I had thought of a way of putting a sleeve in it, or if a sleeve had been an easy option, we would have cast it in aluminium, and that would have been a much easier thing to do. Didn't happen. Heat soaking the glass castings. I've got a heat-free furnace here. It went in the oven, and Clark normalized them in his oven before they left America, and they went in the oven here with a 8 hours cool down from a lot hotter than he got them. And most of it's machinable. I think some of it's sand, some of it's washout. A lot of that problem is pattern making rather than actual furnace work or foundry work. The problem is that you have not enough radius on the inside of the pattern, and then you end up with turbulence, or you have the wrong radius for the distance between the walls, and you end up with turbulence. Then you get sand washout, and then you end up with hard spots because of that. That's probably more of an issue than actual chill. But there's a lot to be learned about this, and it is a pretty major thing that I've done so far. So if we can just be patient with it and we're going to build for a 33mm bore, we're going to build a big boring bar that's solid in a NT40 taper and just the right length, with a carbide boring bar in it that's adjustable for width, so that we can adjust it a bit with a micrometer and run it through with no flex and no weak points, no nothing. I think that's the answer, and probably it'll just run through and cut nice and clean, I imagine. So that's where we're at. I haven't got enough hours in the day to make videos of everything, but I'm going to try. We will get some videos. Hey, big thanks. Talking of videos, big thanks to everyone who commented on my 2 videos over the weekend. I can't believe I put up 2 videos. There was no machining in either of them, which is pretty slack. There's a video on the mill, which sort of was a heads up for a couple of people who are messing with little horizontals and wanted to know about motors and torque and stuff like that. So that was kind of directed at 5 people, and everyone watched it, which is really good. And thank you for that and for your comments. The other one was on beginning model engineering. That's big thanks. Don't stress, Marsh, don't stress. There's 1,000 videos on my watch list that I'd love to watch, but they haven't happened yet. Hey, Creepy, good to see you. Thanks for your comment on the video too. But the other one was, I didn't even touch on mental health hardly. I just wanted to do a video on beginning model engineering and projects and what to look out for in a project that you're likely to get finished. And I got heaps of feedback on that, and I really appreciate the feedback and that everyone took the time to comment. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Beachcomber Bob's good. He's got a Centec as well. Hi, Dennis. Good to see you. He's done a bit of work on it, and he's done a couple of projects that I'd like to do, but he's also got a nice vertical head, so I'm not sure how much horizontal work he's ever going to do with his mill. The horizontal's pretty useful, really. It's solid and it's strong, but it's a bit of a pain in that for layout work and drill work and that sort of thing, you really need a mirror. That's the biggest issue with it, and the Z-axis isn't really enough. Craig, your comment, I call you out on this, your comment on Stirling engines, be prepared to make everything 3 times. They're fussy. I've made half a dozen in my life, none of which ran. There you go. Probably if I had a go at it now, we might have better results, but expect to learn a lot about fits and finishes. So there you go. What else? I got a gift from a friend a little while back, and I didn't really show it. A friend in Melbourne sent this, which is a really nice thing. Big thanks, David, if you're watching. You really should join in the chat if you are. But this little mini brazing torch, a little torch for it's a jewellery torch. He sent this, and I haven't set it up because I haven't got regulators yet, but I have to find a set of regulators. But it might be useful for some things, absolutely. It's got a set of tips and everything's nice in there. I've used one before, but it's fairly specialist. But there might be some work for that in the future. bought this because I like these things, and this is sort of a Christmas present for me. This is 3 weeks to Christmas. While we're on it, Christmas Day is a Wednesday. Do we want a Christmas live stream, or will I be wasting my time? There you go. There's your homework. Leave us a reply or leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. No one wants to get up at 3 a.m. on Christmas evening or on Christmas morning or tune in at 8 o'clock Christmas evening when you've all had too much to eat. Probably I'm thinking, but we could do a bit of a Christmas theme thing. I've got some ideas about it. Thanks, Peter. Hey, good on you, Peter. Good to see you. BGS. That Chuck's looking pretty good. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, it's a genuine one. Thanks. Probably still be up. Oh, you've got a big one planned, Stephen. We'll be up even on Christmas. I hope you're doing okay, Dennis. Worry about you a bit. You've gone a bit quiet, and we hope that you're well. That's all. So, anyway, that's Christmas. It's only 3 weeks away or something, which is pretty stupid. It is crazy. I hope everyone's got everything planned. Anyone who wants my postal address, you know where to find it. Email me. But all jokes aside, buy yourself something for your workshop. This little Meccano catalogue come yesterday. Hornby Trains and Meccano, if anyone's interested in this stuff. This is pretty cool. World famous products. Wow, look at that. Splendid model of a pontoon crane is made entirely of Meccano standard parts. Check that out. Wow, look at this crane. The kid's probably only 7, but it's a big crane. Clockwork motors. Different parts. Yeah, that kid definitely didn't make it. Secret Santa didn't happen this year, unfortunately. There's Mr. Pete. Hornby Trains, 1937, so A gauge was still king. And all pretty basic stuff, English stuff. And no one could afford the nice stuff. Some of these big locomotives all still was 4 coupled because the curves were too tight. Number 2A Special is a beautiful locomotive. And all the accessories. I've got lots of these. I just need somewhere to set them up. Dolls houses? How cool is that? Check out that Tudor doll's house. It's even got its own tennis court and a driveway. Dinky toy scale, so everyone can play. Doll's house furniture. Buses and cars and trucks. Aeroplanes, tanks and tractors. So much cool stuff. The aeroplane constructor, aeroplane kits, I've seen those. And car constructors. Speedboats, clockwork speedboats. How cool are they? I'd like to build one of them one day. Something similar to that. So that's a bit cool. Sorry, I get a bit passionate about that. Are we back? Don't know what happened there. That's a good idea, Craig. I think I'm back. Sorry about that. Oh, awesome. Hi, Max. So I'm a bit of a Hornby nut anyway, if not Meccano. Meccano's kind of messy and it's nicer to make things yourself. But Hornby's kind of nice and I've got quite a collection. Anyway, another project that needs to be done, and I've discovered there's a shortfall. Don't stress, Dennis. You're probably crazy busy and don't feel like doing anything much. We tease you about it, but don't worry too much about it. Take care, Rust. Thanks for checking in. Dividing Head's got a problem, as we've made it, in that I've used this Lorch drive plate, which is cool, and this pin, and then I've got this set of drive dogs that aren't Lorch, but they fit pretty well for the lathe. They've got a C-piece that goes around the pin there. I could turn a light on here. Hang on, I'll turn a light on. Maybe we can see what we're doing then. Sorry, it's dark. I never thought of that. There we go. Whoa. Don't know if it's made a lot of difference, but there we go. Oh, no, that's not the answer. Anyway, these drive dogs are all right in the lathe, but they're too loose here for dividing head work because you get backlash and they're no good for cutting gears. So what I think I need to do is make a new one of these with a screw in each side to adjust on the pin and whatever else it entails. So that's another project that needs to be done. We could probably make a new pin that fit, but this isn't, they're not finished all that well. So, not sure about that. I might make a new pin anyway and get some of it out. But it could wrap some string around it. That's probably as good an option as any. Thanks, John. Bush tapered so you can adjust for fit. That's a good idea too, Craig. Yeah, excellent. Put a grub screw in the side of that one. There's a whole set of these, and I don't really want to put grub screws in them because I think they're cast. I don't know whether they'd crack. Don't imagine they would, but they'd be cast steel, I think. Could probably put grub screws in the sides of these too. Little 4mm grub screw. That might be as good as anything. Still thinking anyway. Oh, Chirpy, that's a bit smart. Probably only need to put one grub screw in, that's right. Maybe I'll get the set out and I'll put grub screws in all of them, just a 4mm grub screw in each one. We'll see. Yeah, I've got some grub screws on the DRO. Don't know what they're for. Oh, I did say what they were for, but I don't think we'll use them. So that's really what's happening here. I'm also restoring this sign for Bruce off and on, and I have been doing a bit of that just in case Bruce watches this and thinks this is Bruce with him in Western Australia. Max will report back to him, I'm sure. But just in case he thinks that we're not doing anything about this, this is slowly coming up. We've filled up all the bullet holes, etc., 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 and some of the dents, but there's a bit of work in that. There must be a story to this. I'm not sure what. And I'm sure if you follow him on any social media at all, he'll tell you when it's finished. So there we go. But there's some work going on there as well in all my spare time. apart from that, we've probably pretty much covered anything. Patina, yes, they're patina. I still feel very tempted to paint some bullet holes on them when it's done. There's a temptation there. Yeah, something like that, Chirpy, would work too. It's not very big. I really like this little set that I've got. They're really nice. I'd say they're German. Not sure. And this is the right spacing here. I think I'm probably just going to put a grub screw in one side of them all. Piston. Oh, this piston here, is that what you're talking about, Poppy? Mad touching those dogs. Righto, thanks, John. We'll see. Something will happen, but we might make a proper thing for it somehow. You're probably right, I'm afraid, but you usually are, John. What else is going down? Don't know. There's a set of collets in Holland for sale for the Lorch 2 Series lathe, 12.5mm collets and bits and pieces. They look something like this. There's a complete set of them, and they're probably tidier than these ones, or they probably aren't. They're second-hand and they're of uncertain age, so you really don't know what they're going to be like. They've dropped in price the last little while. I'm not sure I'm actually going to bid on them, but it might be a sounder idea to actually sit down and make half a dozen that I need and get them probably as accurate as the second-hand ones anyway, if not as accurate as factory jobs. So still thinking about that. Work is something that happens when you, is sort of went to work today. We had issues. Anyone own a Proton Jumbuck? There you go. If you want to be helpful, anyone who owns a Proton Jumbuck, step forward and we won't throw rocks at you. Why do you think half us up in the middle of the night? No one sleeps. That's exactly right. Anyone who owns a Proton Jumbuck, we've got problems with the car key on one, and that kept us back late tonight, and it's probably going to be most of tomorrow sorting it out. So that's a bit of a headache at work. I haven't seen one for years either. It's the only one I've really ever worked on, and it's years since I saw the last one. It's a Proton Jumbuck, John. It's a small car, something similar to a Subaru Brumby with about half the quality. Bit of a heap of junk. Sort of a cross between a sports car and in look something between an MX-3 and a Toyota Hilux Ute. Is that quarter or 1 out of 4, Matty? Anyway, it's the keys dropped out in the car park at work and it's not picking up the signal, and I don't know what to do about it, and I guess we'll work it out. But never ever had it happen like that before. So that's what's keeping us awake at the moment. Probably it wants setting on fire. That's exactly right. It's about a $500 car, and it's going to cost more than that to get it sorted out so we can move it. We have all the equipment that a locksmith has, but we still can't reprogram it. So anyway, I don't know. Don't know. It's part of what I do at work, and usually most things are straightforward and we have no problems with any of them. But this one's a bit of a learning curve. Not convinced it'll ever go again. Probably we'll just tow it. I imagine that the dollars on the write-out fee on the insurance is probably less than getting someone from Proton to look at it. Anyway, that's what I've done tonight, and I wasn't home till about 7 or a bit after. Anyway, take care, Dennis. I'm off too in a minute. Probably going to go and have some dinner and do some laundry and stuff that's got to be done tonight. Peter's been there before. Thanks for that. And sit down and watch Chirpy's video, I think, is the plan for tonight. So it's not mine. The Proton Juggerback's not mine. It belongs to someone else, but I'm not sure why anyone would ever buy the thing. It'd have to be given to you, and even then, like my colleague says, you would leave it in the car park. Take care, Max. Enjoy your dinner. I'm going to do the same. Thanks, everyone. As far as I know, there will probably be a Christmas Eve live feed or Christmas Day live feed. Don't stress too much whether you don't make it or not. If no one turns up, no one turns up. We'll see what happens. Good day, Paddy. Anyway, it's good to see you. Blasted email. Anyway, be good, be kind to each other, take care, look after yourselves, get some time in the workshop, buy yourself new toys for Christmas, and more soon.